You stand inside the largest cathedral in New York State. The ceiling stretches so high it feels like the sky itself has been trapped in stone. Chandeliers glow softly above you. Colored glass windows spill red and blue light across marble floors polished to a mirror shine. The organ hums low, heavy notes that vibrate in your chest. Outside, the street is blocked for miles. Black SUVs, armed guards, men with earpieces scanning rooftops. News helicopters circle above but keep their distance. No reporter dares to step too close. Inside, power stands in silence. Hundreds of men in tailored black suits fill the pews. Gold watches flash under candlelight. Scarred knuckles rest against prayer books no one is actually reading. These are not believers. These are survivors. And today, they are watching you. You wear a simple black silk dress. No jewelry except your wedding ring. A thin black veil hides half your face. Your makeup is light, just enough to make your tears shine but not smear. You look like grief carved into a statue. You walk slowly toward the front row. Every step echoes. The casket rests beneath white lilies. Solid oak, polished, closed. You do not look at it immediately. You let the silence stretch. You feel their eyes measuring you. Testing you. Calculating whether you are weak. You gently lift a black lace handkerchief and wipe a tear from your cheek. Your hand trembles slightly, but only enough to look real. The priest speaks about forgiveness. About mercy. About a complicated man who loved his family. You almost laugh. When the choir begins the final hymn and the pallbearers prepare to move the casket, you finally look at it. And for just half a second, a tiny smile touches your lips. Small, sharp, gone before anyone can question it. You betrayed him. You leaked his location to federal agents through his young mistress. You arranged the timing. You made sure he would feel safe. You made sure he would not suspect you. The raid in the Catskills was violent. Cameras caught smoke, flashing lights, and gunfire. Reporters called it a tragedy. You called it necessary. Now his billion-dollar empire belongs to you. Every warehouse, every shipping route, every offshore account, every soldier, all roads lead to you. But you were not always this woman. 25 years ago, you were just a young girl standing on a hill in California's Emerald Triangle. The land was green and endless. Fog rolled through the valleys every morning. Cannabis farms hid between trees. Everyone knew someone who was growing. Everyone knew someone who was armed. Money existed there, but peace did not. You were raised by hardworking parents who believed in staying invisible. Keep your head down. Pay what you must. Survive. You wanted more than survival. You met him when you were 19. He was young, proud, wearing a clean police uniform and a hopeful smile. He talked about justice like it was something real. He believed the law could protect people. You fell in love with that belief. You married him in a small church with cheap flowers and borrowed chairs. You promised each other a simple life. Reality was not simple. His salary barely covered rent. Your tiny house had cracked paint and thin walls. Winters were cold. Summers were suffocating. You worked part-time at your brother's bar while caring for your newborn son. Bills stacked higher each month. Local gangs demanded protection, money from small businesses. Your husband refused to cooperate. He wrote reports, filed complaints, followed procedure. Windows were broken in response. Your car tires were slashed. One night a bullet shattered your living room window while your son slept in his crib. Your husband swore he would fix everything. He believed patience would win. Then came the hospital. Night. Your son was barely 2 when the fever came. His small body burned in your arms. He cried until his voice broke. Then he stopped crying, and that silence terrified you more. You drove to the nearest public hospital at midnight. The waiting room was overcrowded and understaffed. A tired nurse behind the counter asked for insurance details and payment information. You didn't have enough. You begged. She shrugged. Emergency cases only. Your son began shaking. Then chaos burst through the doors. Men shouting. Blood dripping on white tiles. A wounded crime boss was carried inside, surrounded by armed bodyguards. His name was whispered with fear across the county. He controlled distribution, protection, silence. One of his men slammed a stack of bloody cash onto the desk. Everything changed instantly. Doctors rushed forward. Machines were prepared. Security cleared space. Your son was pushed aside. You screamed until your throat hurt. That was when your husband arrived in uniform. You thought he would demand justice. Instead, when he recognized the crime boss on the stretcher, his face drained of color. He lowered his head. He stepped back. He chose silence. Your son survived that night only because you borrowed money from loan sharks at crushing interest. You signed papers without reading them. You sold your wedding necklace. And something inside you hardened. Weeks later, your husband came home late. He placed an envelope on the table. Cash, thick, heavy. He had accepted a bribe to let a shipment pass through his checkpoint. He looked ashamed. He said it was for the family. You looked at the money differently. You saw stability. If the system was already rotten, why should you starve trying to stay pure? You suggested using your brother's bar to clean small amounts of cash. Fake invoices, inflated liquor orders, private event bookings that never happened. At first, it was minor. Then it grew. You studied accounting online at night. You learned about shell companies, offshore structures, tax loopholes. You became precise, careful, invisible. Your husband's career improved once he stopped resisting and started cooperating. Promotions followed. You moved into a bigger house. Then a gated community. Then something close to luxury. Your son attended private school. He learned piano. He talked about becoming a lawyer. You told yourself you were building safety. But safety built appetite. Soon the money came from darker places, weapons trafficking, human smuggling routes, synthetic drugs. You found fentanyl hidden in liquor barrels one evening. You confronted your husband. He didn't deny it. It's where the profit is, he said. You refused to be involved. He revealed something worse. Your son, now 16, had started training with his security team. Shooting practice, strategy sessions, violence lessons. Your heart cracked. Everything you did was to protect him from this world. Now he was walking straight into it. You felt trapped, so you made a decision. If the empire could not be avoided, it would be controlled. By you. You began skimming small percentages from every transaction. Just enough to avoid detection. You built secret accounts overseas. Switzerland, Cayman Islands, fake identities stored in safety deposit boxes. You collected leverage, videos of corrupt politicians, recorded conversations of rival captains, evidence against your own husband. Then came the mistress, young, naive, lonely. You befriended her slowly, shared wine, shared fake tears, shared stories of how difficult it was to love a powerful man. She trusted you, and you used her. You convinced her to tell you about a private meeting in the Catskills. Remote, supposedly secure. You tipped off a federal contact anonymously. The raid was explosive. Your husband died in gunfire before backup arrived. The news called him a controversial figure. You called him collateral. At his funeral, this funeral, you became the symbol of transition. You froze violent factions' accounts, redirected funds into construction, tech startups, shipping companies. You believed you were stabilizing chaos. You believed you were protecting your son. But power does not soften hearts. It sharpens them. While you managed finances, your son rebuilt the militant wing quietly. He recruited young men who admired violence. He studied warfare videos. He practiced tactical drills at night. New York began to change. Warehouses exploded. Rival crews disappeared. Police officers were ambushed. The city whispered a new name. Your son's name. Then you received a video. Him in black tactical armor. Calm, stepping over bodies without emotion. The boy who once feared thunderstorms now created them. The underbosses demanded action. He is unstable, they said. He threatens business. You tried to call him. The phone connected, but instead of his voice, you heard screaming. The mistress, crying, begging, a gunshot, silence. Then his voice, cold. You taught me never to trust anyone. Click. Fear finally found you. You grabbed emergency cash, a Swiss bank card, a fake passport hidden behind a painting. You called your federal contact, offering evidence in exchange for extraction. They laughed softly. You built this, the agent said. Now live in it. Outside, smoke-covered Manhattan. Armed vehicles rammed through your gates. Gunfire echoed in marble hallways. Your office door exploded inward. And there he stood, 16 years old, covered in blood, holding his father's gold-plated Alaska 47. His eyes were steady, empty, mature beyond forgiveness. You fell to your knees. You begged. You said you loved him. He stepped on the scattered money covering the floor. Bills crumpled under his boots. He aimed the rifle at your forehead. He smiled, the same small smile you wore when the casket closed. Keep the change, Mom. In that final second, you understood everything. You thought you were smarter than violence. You thought you could manage corruption. You thought dirty money could protect love. Instead, you trained love to become violence. Gunfire echoed. Your body hit the marble floor. Blood spread slowly, soaking into expensive rugs and $100 bills. Your son stepped over you without hesitation. Outside, men bowed their heads and shouted, "Long live the new Kingpin." Helicopters circled a burning skyline. And somewhere beneath the smoke of New York, a new empire began breathing. Stronger, colder, built from the same mistake. You wanted to save your family. You only taught it how to rule through fear.